Konrad Solinsky with the title track from his new album, Acceleration. Check the description below for the link to the Bandcamp. Hello, and welcome to this week's instalment of Transatlantic's Countdown to Cyberpunk commentary. This week we are covering 2016's Hardcore Henry, directed by Ilya Naishuller. My name is Kindred.
And I'm Bad Juju.
And we are watching this on the UK Blu-ray. So if you have your copy ready, press play now. Oh, right, okay. So, you didn't... I don't think I saw this at the cinema, actually. I think I missed it. You didn't see it until you watched it with me.
Yeah.
I think I rented it when it came out on... Well, I think I streamed it or something like that when it came out. Because I did actually see the trailer and thought it looked interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't initially sold when I saw the trailer. I was like, I don't know. How's this going to work? Is this sort of like a novelty thing?
Yeah, well, I was a little... Do you know what? The first thing that ran through my mind was like, oh, is it going to be for all your Call of Duty obsessives? And it's just going to be some, like, really dumb, like, you know, power fantasy kind of douchebag thing. But I like it. I really like it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. Because
I'm trying to think of, like, films to do for the cyberpunk nature. And I think this qualifies. You know, because, you know...
What is this, more like a proto-cyberpunk?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends, because it's obviously... It seems to be, like, in the near future with the tech. And Henry is kind of a cyborg, and, you know, certain technology that exists. You got the whole, like, part of the 2 minutes of Tim Roth screen time. God bless him. Good old Tim Roth. I started watching that Tin Star he was in, that series. You seen any of that?
No.
It's alright, actually. Kind of starts, it means to go on with this kind of... It feels very sort of like anti-Bond.
Yeah.
This credit sequence at the beginning. You get a feeling of what you're going to get in the film. Just instead of all the mostly naked ladies, it's just a load of people getting stabbed and shot and beaten up. Because this is, I think it's might be like the highest grossing film in Russia since 1991. But because this is Ilya Naishuller's first proper feature film. Before then, he directed some films for some music videos for his band. I think where he got this is almost like an extension of his band's video, Bad Mother Effer. I'm trying not to swear.
Trying not to.
That just looks horrible.
Yeah.
It's just getting slowly shanked with a broken bottle, and this as well. It's like just a blade just going to someone's neck. It's like ooh. But
no, and look at the way the skin light just kind of.
I know. It's like
oh yeah, that's amazing.
But so that's how he started off, and it was more of an experiment. The music video he did, and this is more of an extension of that whole theme. But I actually like it. It's
except there's no teleportation.
There's no teleportation.
That was the sci-fi element.
It took me a second to sort of like camera just tracks through the bullet wound. But no, this is it's actually quite imaginative. I like it, and I think it's something like 13 different actors played 13 different stuntmen. Yeah. Played the role of Henry over the time.
Or people well versed in parkour.
Yeah. Well, yeah, depending on what they needed him to do.
Yeah, because didn't Ilya say like they had a specialist to do certain scenes, like someone who could ride a horse, someone who could do this, and
basically this film is essentially just the product of a bunch of mad Russian bastards, essentially. Really, just like, I mean, you don't want to stereotype Russians as being like crazy kind of guys who just endure all kinds of dangerous thing and punishment, but this does seem to be that kind of thing.
They're hard people.
Yeah. Oh god, yeah. And apparently throughout the whole of the film, and despite all the ridiculous stunts and everything, wasn't it like there was one chipped tooth, and one guy needed 5 stitches?
Yeah, that was it. So yeah,
and that was the whole. That was all the extent of the injuries on set.
Yeah.
Which is mental.
Considering they actually had to land actual punches because it doesn't, like, when you're doing it from that angle, they were saying,
oh god, yeah, no.
It's got to sell.
Yeah, and so that just hit me then. Just a matter of fact, it's Haley Bennett, the kind of, like, some people say she's like the cheap version of Jennifer Lawrence. Only I just kind of think she's actually better. So.
Yeah, if you did like a double take, you'd actually go Jennifer Lawrence, like on the street. They're very similar. They look like they could be related.
I think that's damaged her career slightly.
Because they already have somebody that looks like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she's a decent actor.
I mean, it's not her fault somebody looks like her already.
Yeah, sure.
But then again, though, Jeffrey Dean Morgan kind of looks a little bit like Javier Bardem, and that didn't ruin his career.
Just slightly not as Spanish looking.
Yeah, but
white Javier Bardem.
But they do look very similar.
Yeah, I suppose at a glance, yeah, you kind of got that similar.
And Benicio del Toro looks just like Brad Pitt.
You think?
Yeah. Oh my God.
I suppose there's like a passing resemblance.
Especially now that they're older, it's like you do a double take. Well, one opens his mouth and you go, oh yeah.
I want a cool cybernetic arm.
I know you said you would actually, if you had the opportunity, like you would replace body parts with...
I'd replace most of me. If they had like really cool like tech. We're talking like proper cyberpunk tech. If you say, and obviously as long as it looked okay,
I'd probably replace my legs.
Oh, I'd replace my legs and my arms, and like as long as like I could have like they looked normal, like I could have like human skin over the top or something. I don't know if
I'd replace my arms, but definitely my legs. I don't like my legs.
Well, it's just someone said to you, do you want like the same looking arms, but this one means you can bench press a car? I mean, maybe it's just me, a little boy, and me. Just I don't know. I've never really had that much attachment to like, oh, what about your soul? What if you're more machine than man? Like, I don't care. I can run at 50 miles an hour. That's awesome. More machine
than man. Well, I don't. But
he's more machine than man.
But you still have your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless, like, in the future, it's like altered carbon. You get a stack, and then.
See, yeah, I mean, then we're down to different philosophical sort of debates in terms of like, well, isn't or psychological side effects? Is it going to mess with your sense of personality and self?
Yeah.
At least you can rotate your leg around, Henry. What I want to know is, knowing what happens later on in this film, does she do this with every cyborg guy?
I think that was what they were saying, weren't they? Like she tries to test their maximum
she's like the
potential.
Emotional anchor, isn't she?
Yeah.
I suppose, like, I mean, again, it's not that you really sort of like cover this, but I wonder if it's a case of like, well, because of the shock of everything that's happened to them, all the the biological changes,
right?
She's like the focal point that helps keep them sane. So if they believe that that's their wife and they're in love with her, and then it probably helps put them at peace. I don't know. I know you just couldn't have covered your knuckles.
Yeah. If that was me, I'd be like, I don't fucking believe this. Like, I don't believe it.
Language.
Oh, yeah, I know.
You're
sorry.
the first one to drop the F-bomb. But shame on you.
I'm going to be dropping all the F-bombs. Just kidding.
I just think it's funny that you managed to do it before me, that's all.
Yeah, well, I'm a crude New Yorker.
Crude New Yorker. I thought this was going to be, before I saw this, some douchey, like, I want to be Call of Duty kind of thing, and it's got like a neat little kind of fun sort of sci-fi story.
Like it's one of those, hey, I wonder what it would be like from first-person perspective. It'll make an interesting concept, but the story's actually...
little Star Wars reference, which is kind of inevitable. See, that's Ilya Naishula in the background, isn't it? The other scientist.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh.
that's him. Yeah, the one with the T-shirt on that I can't make out whose face it is on it. Yeah, because apparently originally they wanted to use like higher grade cameras or something, but this was all filmed with like a GoPro that they had to mount on this mask, and the GoPro's actually about at jaw level, isn't it? Like it's basically in front of the chin.
Yeah.
Which they had to do loads of prototypes for because to keep it secure and everything.
Yeah, they had to create like a new harness or like head harness for where the camera was gonna sit.
Yeah, because I think the DP, he didn't want to use anything like GoPro at first because he saw it as pretty like, not a high quality enough camera. But they had real problems with the rolling shutter of the other cameras. Like, I think there was a lot of skew with the images that they were capturing because obviously there's a lot of fast movement. So they ended up having to go with the GoPro, but I still think it looks fine.
I think it works really well, actually.
See, I really like the character of Akan, right? I really love that. Well, I was saying, like, I like how his abilities aren't ever explained. I think that's good. In the age that we live in, where everything just, in the age of prequels and, look, this is how Han Solo got his jacket, and
like in this universe, you go, okay, so there's cyborgs, there's some kind of psychics, or, well, he's more telekinetic.
Well, yeah, he's more,
But I guess that falls under the psychic branch or an Esper.
Call back to the old.
Yeah, there you go.
Akira. And, you got a bad guy who completely chews the hell out of the scenery. It's just pure pantomime, dude. I like it because it is kind of over the top, this film. It's silly. Oh no, they killed the director. How'd they do the rest of the film?
Right. Did you see that? Is it the Black Swan? I don't know if that was important to the...
I don't know. Pretty sure that had just ruptured your eardrums. Quiet cat.
Little spark plug is sneezing.
I think it must have been very challenging to do this because you've got to keep things moving. You can't really slow down for too long in this.
Yeah, the one thing that would have been crazy if they did one continuous shot. I think that would have been...
I think that would be impossible. But but then what they did do, because it does look like that, but then I think they hid their the edits in like certain quick like whip pans.
Yeah.
And things and certain like explosions or something that would seem to distort Henry's perspective. So it's very smartly done because essentially it does give the impression that it is all one take. One continuous take. See, I thought this was a cool reveal as well. You see the fact that actually they're in some floating sky base.
Right.
I just think, like, with Estelle's character, like, she has to do this every time. She's a good actress. Just go through all this stuff. Yeah, I'd rather
The question is, how many
that.
people die each time they have to do this?
Yeah, how often? I mean, somebody just get killed straight away. What?
Or there's clones or rush.
Yeah, but I don't really think that's important. That's the thing. Cause it's Henry's story, but it's just interesting to think how many times has this happened before.
This future is connected to Alter Carbon's future. No, I'm kidding.
Hashtag shared universe.
Sometimes I wonder though, right? Because it. I mean, I know that there's no psychics in that universe, though. It's mostly just like they have the technology and the AI, right?
Yeah,
to sort of. Yeah.
I don't know, because I haven't even gotten to the second book yet. It's good, apparently she's basically risking a concussion.
Every time.
No, she isn't who she thinks she is. She's been smacked in the head that many times.
She's also a cyborg.
What a twist. Oh, it's the Russian A-team. Just a load of BA Barakas just come out
Yeah.
all the time. And that's the one of the stunt coordinators.
Oh, right.
That main guy, the guy without the mask on him, who looks like a stereotypical like Russian hard guy. Yeah, like as Juju said, because of the perspective, you can't really hide a lot of the punches with the camera angles.
They're literally hitting each other or getting punched in the face.
They're doing it old school Hong Kong style where you try and put a few pads on and hope that'll make the difference.
The interesting thing about that too, right, is if they're punching each other in the face a bunch of times, how many days in between that they had to ice and make sure that they didn't get a bruise?
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I know that the character of Henry, you never see his face, but like, let's say the other people.
See, I'm forgetting where this was shot. I mean, it was shot in Russia, but I'm just trying to think of like, I'm not sure what city specifically. Cause it is weird with Ilya Naishula because like he is Russian, and I wikied him in terms of his background not long ago, and it said that he spent a few years in London living there as a small child, but then went back to Russia. But he seems to have a nondescript American accent.
Right.
So I just wonder where he picked that up from.
But that's the thing. I've heard like a few like Eastern Europeans, like where they learn English, it's like, why do you sound American?
Well, yeah, no, what I was saying to you about a guy my uncle used to know, and he was born and raised Portuguese, but worked in America for a couple of years, and that's where he learned English. And so he spoke perfect English, but he spoke a completely American accent.
Where in America did he
I can't remember. But
it would be funny if he had like a regional American accent.
It's quite nasal, if I remember correctly.
Oh God. Was it as nasal as my voice?
Yes, it's not nasal.
Oh God.
Rosie Perez.
God, I hate my voice. I actually.
This is while you're doing a bunch of commentaries. Then.
No, I know. Years ago, like I wanted to actually get some
shift with a wiper
speech lessons, because I don't like the way
elocution.
Yes. Just basically have a generic nondescript accent.
See, I do think the small problem with this film, and I do really like it, but because it's got that fast-moving action, it's all from a first-person perspective, that sometimes you're thinking, Jesus, the camera whips around very quickly, and a lot of
so it
does kind of mess with your sense of equilibrium a little.
Well,
bit.
yeah, I was gonna say it's a little bit nauseating.
Yeah, it's in some bits.
Yeah, I mean, I've always found that it's kind of hard to follow stuff like this a little bit, because somebody
especially when he's falling and flipping around and
Yeah.
stuff, you don't know which way's up.
I also find that like I get kind of cross-eyed if I'm looking at certain things, because I'm not sure where the focus is. Like, what am I trying to look at? And especially with the light over here, because it's kind of blinding you slightly.
There he is. Good old Shelto Copley. I love this guy. He's great. Just proper quality character actor. I just love his over the top, like core blimey British, like nowhere in London but London accent.
Yeah.
God bless him.
I couldn't really tell what kind of accent he was trying to do here, because it just sounds so.
Well, I think it's his attempt at a bit of an East End.
Mm.
And I don't care, because this whole movie is basically like a giant. It's just a live action cartoon, isn't it? Live action ultra violent cartoon. That's kind of the point. You married. Yeah, I was worried that this would be some douchebag ultra macho thing, but I like it. I think it's got a lot of personality. It's a lot of fun. Doesn't outstay its welcome,
Well, also I think you sympathize with Henry.
Yeah.
Too, because he's the silent, unlikely protagonist.
Well, yeah, because I think it wouldn't have worked actually from a character point of view. My stomach's making noises.
Wow, it's grumbling.
Yeah. I should have had some toast. But, What was I gonna say? No, it wouldn't work so well if he spoke. I think because
Yeah.
it just would have seemed a bit weird. And I know like Nigela's idea is like he's like putting you in the character of Henry.
Yeah.
So I think that would have sort of like messed with the immersion a little bit.
Yeah. I know, I'm one of those people where I go, oh, first person shooter, this makes me sick.
Well, you ain't much of a first person shooter fan, are you?
No, I've tried, and it's really hard because I think it's because like it affects me. Like I feel like I get motion sickness. I like the idea of controlling an avatar.
Oh, no, fair enough. I know it does mess with some people. See, I like this bit because it confused me when I first watched it. I'm like, alright, Sharlto Copley's one of the few named actors in this, and he's had about 2 minutes of screen time, you just killed him.
Right.
Like, what was
Is
the
this
point?
going to be a Children of Men scenario?
What was the point in that sort of thing? And I thought it was quite clever, and it kept me sort of guessing as to, I had a couple of ideas before the reveal, but it kept me guessing as to what the whole deal was with him. Oh, looks like St. John's Market in Liverpool. Crab for sale. Do you want some budget? Mass produced crab.
Yeah, how did they not see him go in there? She's just like, okay.
To be fair, if like a weird cyborg looking dude covered in blood just burst into your shop and just wanted some clothes, then,
Right.
I guess you'd probably just let him. Because it's a really rapid film.
Yeah.
But you kind of have to do it, because if you didn't do it full speed, it would look weird. And again, so that is the trade-off.
I would say that the pilot sort of, or like concept video for this was the camera movements were not as nice. Like I felt like it was kind of dull. Like the movements were slower.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, that was more of a experimental, it wasn't. I mean, and he obviously, so you got a bit of parkour here.
Well, probably some of this is sped up anyway.
Maybe.
Yeah. I feel like it is.
I don't know, I've never run down the street with a GoPro on my face. I don't really know what it looks like.
You ever see it when they put on the backs of dogs? That's the best.
I just do it. Do you know what I love about Sharlto Copley? Like, in every sort of role I've ever seen him in, he just tells like, I'm going to have as much fun with this as possible. That's what I'm going to do.
I like that his voice is so cartoonish. Like, it's always over the top.
Yeah, but I think that's good. I like the fact that he's got different personas in this. Now we've got Hobo Copley. I guess Copley or Copley, I don't know how you say it. A little bit of the Afrikaans accent slipping in there. Just relax while I stick some pliers in there. That's a cool effect as well.
Yeah. People are just watching.
It's like some snub-nosed pliers as well. It's not like, oh, I'll try and make a neat incision with a sharp blade. No, I'm just going to mash your skin open with some...
The weird thing about that, though, is that I don't know how... I mean, those are pretty blunt. You can't...
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, unless because it's not like real skin.
Well, I think it... Well, that's a... But then I think it'd still be his nerves, though, isn't it? Because
sure.
Wasn't that his... That was his cyborg arm, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a bit confusing.
Yeah, that's why part of his tattoo is missing.
It must have been, I reckon, it's probably like real skin that he cloned and attached to his skin. It's almost a little bit like Crank 2, this bit. Only good. Yeah, and that... I love the way, like, what's your secondary solution to this? Or just have a dude rock up walking down the road with a flamethrower.
I know.
The guys with guns, it didn't work. The police don't work. Just have a guy just wandering up beside a bus and just set on fire. I mean, a second shot of Copley death in nearly as many minutes. Bit late for you to stop, dropping, and
I
rolling
was like,
there.
oh, I can't.
Oh, the Russian Makarov pistol.
Oh, God. I wonder if it's like, oh, well, you know, that's just every day in Russia. No.
I forgot the name of the guy, but this is obviously the parkour guy being Henry right now. And he was saying, I think he was saying in the making of, because of whatever, yeah, you had to be topless. So that was like a real flamethrower.
Yeah.
And everyone else was just like, you know, treated with a fire resistant gel and stuff like that. And he was standing there,
Yeah.
you know, basically not literally getting it fired at him, but close enough.
Yeah. Euro trash.
Stealing clothes from people. I think
Also, who goes swimming in a lake like that? Ugh.
Russians. So this guy's going to see Slick Dimitri. I forgot the name of the actor again, but he's also Henry for a bit. Yeah, there's something like 13 different guys or something like that.
Yeah, I think his name was Sergey.
Nah, it was. It was. I forgot his name. But he spoke really excellent English as well, but again with an accent. See.
Yeah, I think with this scene also, didn't they have to, they had to be attached to some wires so that they wouldn't mess up the building. Like they had to be very delicate. Like, and you can even see the way that he's touching it. It's very
well, yeah, because he's just kind of placing his hands on it. He's not really climbing. He's being pulled up by a pulley. Andrei Dementiev.
Oh, okay.
Is Slick Dimitri, but he's also like a parkour dude. Yeah. Oh, super hot. That's a cool game. Actually, I wonder if that's a bit of a reference on purpose. You seen that?
Mm-mm.
It's like first-person shooter game, but then the enemies only move when you do.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of all slow motiony and cool. It's like polygonal John Wick. I don't know. Kind of. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I don't know what it's like filmmaking in Russia now, what the rules are, but considering the nature of it, you know, they seem to have got permission to do like a lot of destruction and that.
Well, yeah.
It's the kind
like
of
you
lifts
said, what are the kind of permits? Jesus Christ.
See again. That kind of looks like he was gripping on with those pretty tight.
Yeah, no, he probably was. Considering all the other stuff that they were doing.
Human shielded a guy in the end of some pliers.
See, this is the thing, though. I don't think realistically you could have made this movie in America because of all the regulations and the problems we've had, like with accidents on sets.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not saying because I think it was more, it's not the guys were careless when they were making this. I think it was more the fact that there's just certain things where, like, I don't know, your stuntmen in a union probably just wouldn't agree to do, like, compared to this. Like,
but I also think it's certain things that they just couldn't pull off anyway. So I guess it's like, do we take the risk? And I guess they felt confident enough to do that, you know? I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I've always said this, stunt people do not get enough respect in the movie industry, if you ask me. The crazy stuff they do to themselves. Like I say, I can't believe through all this film, there's one chipped tooth and one cut that required 5 stitches.
Yeah, seriously.
That was it. Can't believe it. See, maybe you should ask why. You can see. Psych! Almost makes you wonder why do that. Why not just wait for him with a gun instead of like playing possum there? Wouldn't look as cool, that's why. It's like a double barrel for some reason.
Yeah, that I just recall like this scene always made me feel uneasy because how narrow the corridor is, like the lighting and everything. I thought that was pretty.
Jeez. Foot, knee, chest. Of course, he's scared.
Oh.
See, that's a bit of a way to jump on an uneven surface as well.
Also, it looked like that there were steps.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you landed on an uneven surface. And this seemed like a pretty fast descent.
Yeah.
And he was just holding on to this. There wasn't any other like rig attached to him.
Yeah.
I think it was just him holding on to that rope. I presume, they just would have padded the bottom of that skip.
Yeah. He's just waiting there for him.
Like, ooh, chase me. Yeah. See, I think this works quite well because I know there's like a lot of, I don't know really anything about parkour, and I think in cinema and TV it's not as popular as it was, say, 10 or so, probably about a dozen or so years ago. So 2006, 2007 seemed to like really, that's when it blew up a lot, and like you see a lot of things in 2006, 7, 8, something like that. You'd see a lot of people.
Basically, everybody was like,
films.
"Oh, Assassin's Creed."
Let's have a parkour character.
Yeah.
But it does work very well in this.
Yeah.
I think it helps keep the pace and the dynamism. But But yeah, they were really running across as well. There's no safety features or nothing. There wasn't any like lines out of shot that were holding them there or anything.
Yeah.
And I think they did this about 3 or 4 times.
They said like, weren't you scared to do that? They're like, actually, that was the easiest thing we had to do because it was just we were running.
Yeah. Oh, and cue the unintentional woman face plant. This one. That looks like she falls really hard.
Yeah, but she was a stunt woman though, right?
No, she was just an extra.
Oh, Jesus.
She wasn't supposed to be. He wasn't supposed to be colliding with her.
Oh, that's right. And then he felt really bad when she fell.
Well, I think they kept that bit in because I think that was actually him going, "Jesus, you all right?" And yeah, apparently she was fine, like absolute champ. But you see, maybe a lot of it is the camera angle responsible for it. But
I don't know about
it
you.
looked like she fell nasty there, like flat in the face.
Yeah, because seriously, I don't know about you, but if you fell on an escalator, my God, the grading, and then plus, what if your hair got caught in that fucking mess?
Oh, when I worked at the cinema, one of the lads who worked there like fell down the escalator and did kind of a bit of a roll. To be fair, it was funny because he was a dick. So.
Oh, look at the little pup.
with an arm attached. But the Britney Spears bit in South Park.
Oh God. And she was like she was just basically like a tongue. Like,
yeah. I just like the way it's being so visceral on purpose.
Yeah.
But it's actually it's a couple of films. I think there's supposed to be more of them by a little Italian studio called Necrostorm. They were called Hotel Inferno, and it's done on a proper shoestring budget. But the first one is about some hitman.
Yeah.
And he ends up like going to this weird hotel. And it's basically wearing something like Google Glass, and the whole gimmick is that his employer wants to see him do the hit.
Right.
So yeah, but then it ends up being this weird, horrific sort of purgatory, like hell-like landscape.
Right.
It's really quite cheap, but it is, really, considering it must have been shot for like nothing, it's still pretty decent. Like ridiculously violent as well.
Right.
This is the house of blonde Russian strippers. So, which one do you want to give you a lap dance? The blonde one. You have to narrow it down a bit more.
Yeah, they're all wearing the same wig. Well, except those two. Yeah, those are the only two that seem like that they actually have their hair.
And here we have like 1970s like, I like drugs shelter, I suppose.
Yeah.
Wearing some wonderful Y fronts. Now that's some quality underwear right there.
Also, what has he got? Like was that a phoenix tattoo?
I can't tell. Some kind of dragon or something. There you go, a little bit of a hide your edits in there. I just wonder how hard it was to make, just because it must have been some really quite long takes.
Right. Well, yeah, like where it was one continuous shot.
Yeah. So much reminds me of the like Austin Powers fembots.
Yeah. So this is what I like. I just assumed that he was completely like most of his parts were robotic. Because if his chest has like a metal plate or something.
Well, yeah. I mean, you do see like, later on, don't you? Like a sort of X-ray of him.
Yeah.
So.
And also, since you never really see his face, I mean, you could also assume that there's...
We see his face at the end.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you just assume that those bits are metal.
Yeah, well, I suppose he's supposed to be some kind of, like, next-gen super soldier, isn't he? So,
yeah.
I don't know. Again, it's not really important, is it? The whole point is he's supposed... I think, because Akan... He's basically like he's pretty much like a Russian Cobra commander, isn't he? He's kind of like this
albino Cobra commander.
He's kind of like he's this private sort of weapons company / military contractor types.
He's no, I was gonna say Ocelot, not Ocelot. The other
big boss.
No. I was thinking of the other character. I can't think of his name right now.
We're talking Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah. The psychic character.
Oh, Psycho Mantis.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid where you had to plug your controller into player 2 port. That was cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that was an awesome PS1 game.
I wonder how long it took people to figure out what to do with that.
I think I looked it up, to be honest. But then it was more like that was a time where it was... I got video game magazines, and sometimes you got like a free game guide.
You were subscribed to, so was I.
Well, I don't know. I wasn't subscribed, but I used to get a couple of magazines here and there.
Well, what was your magazines called? Because I used to get Game Informer.
I didn't used to get the official PlayStation magazine because I didn't like it as much. I think I used to get a magazine. It's just called Play.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a UK based one, obviously.
Well, yeah, that's why I was asking, because, like, I'm not sure what subscriptions they have over here. I bet you anything they don't have them anymore.
Oh, no, a lot of the game magazines I read when I was younger they've long since, gone under. I took cocaine. Back to rock, so the rock and roll crowd. Chicky, yeah. Do you reckon this is just an excuse to see lots of like hot Russian girls mostly naked, like
Maybe.
this scene? sometimes watch films like, when they have scenes like this, and I just think, is that just an excuse?
Well, it's like we're just gonna have a. It's like, it's just like we'll have naked girls for the sake of having naked girls.
But no, it's for the atmosphere. It's vitally important we shoot this scene here in this strip club. Really, honestly, it really helps push the plot along. Have some more cocaine, Shelter. Why not? Austin Scarface over here. To be fair, right? You know, if you're an actor, this must have been a lot of fun, you know, for him to do, because he'd just be completely ridiculous.
Well, yeah, he got to play like sort of different characters.
So now you got like Russian strippers with katanas and stuff.
Well, actually, they're not though.
That
they're
lead one.
They're the dominatrix.
Oh, yeah, the one with the gun there. That one, the in all the PVC or the latex.
Yeah.
That's Ilya Naishulla's wife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's funny. It's almost like, and I'm not. You know what I like about this? It's an action film, right? But actually, they put most of the money into the action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't have that many named actors in it, and again, it doesn't really matter. Awesome. Oh no, he was betrayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Kind of looks like a. Kind of looks like Velma from Scooby-Doo's evil albino brother.
Or Fred's emo cousin.
Fred's emo cousin. Jinkies. Yeah, but I think what was wise of Naishulla with this film is he just went full mental with it. You know, he just because I think you'd have to go really over the top and ridiculous. If you kind of toned it down a bit, it wouldn't have worked as well. It's like we were saying the other day when we were discussing this. I'm not sure if you could do a second one. I just think.
Well, didn't they say they wanted to though?
I don't know. I just think, because what would you do really? It'd have to be just like more of the same.
Well, yeah.
And like, what you'd be basically making a similar film, but you'd be trying to make, I don't know what, even more mental stunts, and I just don't think there'd be any point. Stolen a biker shelter.
Acan, or basically Akon.
Where's Akon?
The telekinetic rapper.
Lonely. Where's Akon? There you go, it's the American remake. Where's Akon?
It's just.
I mean, it is almost like this was like a 15-year-old boy wrote it, but in kind of a good way. You warm there, love.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.
Really shave the back of your head.
I know.
Yeah, that's his wife. Like the really tall, skinny one.
I wonder if the other one is somebody else's wife or.
Well, it's obviously you can tell he's got a lot. Well, he's got the stunt coordinator playing one of the soldiers, and he's playing one of the scientists. So, to be honest, I think a lot of it is like, here's where most of the budget's gone. This is what we've got left for casting. Right. You know, just get people you know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Because that's the thing. I think with a certain genre of film, it doesn't matter, does it?
Right.
I mean, of course, like, you know, why not have like a minigun on a sidecar? Why not? Still, I mean, you know, this looks really difficult to shoot.
Yeah.
This bit. I actually think the CG is pretty well incorporated into the live action as well, actually.
But that's actually real, though. Like, oh my god. If you notice, they're not moving that fast though. As
No.
yeah,
That is the point, actually. I think they try to compensate with that with a lot of rapid camera movement. Sort of
well,
thing.
yeah. I mean, they can't really, you know. I mean, because if you're dragging somebody, but
I think
that's
like a fireworks noise.
yeah, that's real. He was on like a crane. That's how they.
Yeah. Like some kind of like descender rig, wasn't it? Is this like another Biting Elbow song as well? 'Cause he's just like nicely just plugging his band quite a bit. Hey, why not? I mean, if you think about it, this is like a really indie film.
Mm.
So for what he had at his disposal, I think it's a great job. Really great job. Because it zips along at a good pace. I mean, you don't get bored. I don't think you could ever,
Yeah.
accuse us of being boring. It's really well coordinated.
Brutal.
Sort of disembowelment shot to the eye.
Jesus.
Henry, I've had time to get changed and do my hair and makeup.
Yeah, like how did he not know? It's a setup.
It does seem quite contrived, though, doesn't it? Really, like all this.
Yeah.
That, I mean, again, she's with all the tears and the acting and the things.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got all this tech, would it not just be easy to implant them with all these memories?
Right.
So I mean, it's implied that they basically like wipe the brains, isn't it? Daniela, what's his name? The guy who plays Akon. Again,
Mhm.
he goes full on pantomime villain,
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
he? But again, fun way.
Kind of feel like he's allowed.
How much head trauma she had? He's been rendered unconscious twice
Right.
already.
This is the 50th test we've run.
There are like 20 concussions.
Yeah.
Wonder if that's true. 100,000 baseball bats sold every year in Russia and only 50 baseballs. Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. See, what happens if Henry doesn't do anything? Would he just kill his own wife? To prove a point.
Right.
There'll probably be some like stupid like fan theory where it's just like, what if this is part of the Matrix? What if Henry was in virtual reality the whole time? I don't have any hobbies, so I come up with stupid film theories.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then they get to go on ridiculous clickbait videos like 20 fan theories that'll completely change the way you view blah blah blah.
Unless they have the technology to fix her,
Think so.
Well, I'm saying like if he Akon.
I was like Akon. He's keep going Akon now.
Might as well Akon. But
Mr. Lonely. Stop playing good, come on home.
But yeah, like if he hit her, probably could fix her. They have like.
Just like infinite, just brain medicine.
Well, I mean, if you have like weird sort of people with powers and other stuff, you never know.
So this is kind of implying that one of his eyes ain't right.
Yeah, maybe it's like turned upside down, like one of those like dolls that you see.
Yeah. Stick a few wires in, some jumper cables, it'll be fine. does make you wonder why Akan just smacked him with a baseball bat and kicked him out.
Mm.
There you go, because that implies that his eye's a bit messed up.
Yeah, and if he's being rebooted, then that means part of his brain is also.
Well, yeah, because the way he views things, his eyes are cybernetic, aren't they? So that implies that he'd have to have at least some implant in his brain to connect that all up. Do you get it? Sholto Copley's a hippie in this bit.
Yeah.
That one's hippie Copley.
It's like, how did he not get an Oscar for that?
But Hardcore Henry. Somehow I don't think this film was ever considered by the Academy Awards.
Oh, well.
Oh yeah, she gets a nice shard of metal in her chest.
Clearly can't bring her back.
No. But because a tank. So this is where the guy who's Henry is actually being played by the guy who played Slick Dimitri from The Chase before.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a bit in the making I was like, Nigel was like, what I really want to do is just like have it so like a tank rolls over you pretty much. Is that alright? He's like, yeah, sure, why not? It works for the film. Russians, man. Seriously.
No, also like he climbed up in the tree and then he also landed on the tank too. Jeez.
I'd rather not. Because, I mean, you would be two-dimensional.
That's great.
As we all know, all you need to defeat a tank is a sword.
Jesus.
Ouch.
Brutal.
I'm a tank killer. And a mother handful. Oh, this is separate falling off a helicopter, Henry.
Yeah.
I just feel like a lot of them were just like, yeah, fall off a helicopter. Yeah, sure, why not? Just lie. Just like, how hard can it be?
That's the thing. How many people was like, oh yeah, I've done, well, didn't he say like, oh yeah, we got a guy who did like base jumping, so I'm like, oh my God.
So, he could fall off a helicopter, because, same thing, innit? See, I'm not quite sure how they did this, because the way he's gliding, is that like a wingsuit, or... I'm not quite sure how they did that.
Yeah.
So I saw it in the making.
Also, I can't even tell if that was one continuous shot.
Well, again, I think they broke it up when they were approaching the tree, I think, because you can use that sort of glitchy sort of look to edit stuff together. Have a horse walk over your head as well. Horse riding, Henry.
Horse is gonna run away from me.
Bareback horse riding, Henry, as well. At that. Although for some reason it does have like it's a Magnificent Seven.
Yeah.
For some reason it's got a bridle on though. No saddle, but it's got a bridle on. That last action hero. Hurry up, my horse is getting tired. Not like that last action hero. I want to talk about True Lies. True Lies. It's me, Captain Price from Call of Duty.
Or what's that character from G.I. Joe?
God, which one?
I don't know. The one, but in special missions.
Calvin.
I can't think of his name right now.
Travis Snake.
Oh, Fumbles.
Oh, Robot Chicken. And then for some reason, in the middle of nowhere. A couple of cops are a bit rapey
Yeah.
because
Corrupt cops.
reasons.
Yeah, boom.
I will say it does sell it well though, because with the punches and that you feel it.
Oh,
Jesus.
nut cruncher.
Oh, you got it pretty bad there. Oof. Ghillie suits don't really work so well when you're not in the middle of like a load of undergrowth. That kind of like disguise thing kind of loses its. Yeah. Doormat. I just reckon a lot of these buildings are just his mates' houses and stuff like that.
Look, that even makes a difference.
Right. Let's put a couple of meters in from the actual doorway. See, these are just like this is like just someone's set dress garage or something.
Yeah.
Probably. Here's your exposition point. It's probably how they train the Spetsnaz. Jeez, I read some. I mean, sometimes stuff gets exaggerated when it comes to like how your hardcore soldiers train. But I did hear something at least, and again, it could be exaggerated, but I read somewhere that one of the tests to become part of the Russian Special Forces is, I think there's a bit where you have to crawl through, like you see some commando training, you have to like go under like a tunnel that's a bit submerged and like sort of crawl through it on their elbows. Well, like that, but basically just full of like blood and guts and viscera. You have to literally crawl through gore. And then as one of the final tests, we've got some like special trained attack dog, and they literally have to kill the dog with a knife.
Jesus.
And if they die, they die. So, yeah. There's dick work. It wouldn't be your question, is it? Do you reckon Henry has a cybernetic anus?
That's a good question.
Right, it's the same question you have to ask yourself every time. Come on, you're falling behind.
Well, I know how he poops. He probably poops in a bag.
No, I was talking about Henry.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the thing. Do we see him eat at all? I forget.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so no need for pooping then.
Maybe do you reckon he has like a RoboCop diet, has the baby food?
And every time he sits in that chair, that's how he empties it out.
His welding mask, Oculus Rift. See this? Yeah, that is your exposition, but I guess you try and keep it moving though. You notice you try to keep anything focused on one position too long. So yeah, there you see. So he's got a lot of stuff in him. He's a bit of a man anyway. There's some cybernads. See, stuff that sounds awesome but isn't real science. Of course. I love that. It's like it's better a power aircraft carrier. Why would you ever put something that powerful in a person then? Is that just like way too excessively expensive and powerful? Why would you ever need something that could power an aircraft carrier?
Also, how do you know how any of that stuff how it would react with the body? Is it like, because certain metals,
it's got to be nuclear,
I imagine.
so I imagine they'd shield it somehow. They'd have to like coat it in a load of like lead and plastic or something. Oy. So your super carriers that you have, they've got like ridiculously like powerful nuclear reactors that power them. And I can't remember what city it was, but this one of your aircraft carriers is stationed there, and there's a power outage, and they hooked their reactor into the city, and they helped power the whole city for a month. The reactor from one of your aircraft carriers. It's ridiculous. Cue just weird song and dance number. See, you kind of got the with the pans. You got the edits hidden there. See, 90s, 80s punk copy. Because didn't he say in the interview, like, the only person he ever got like inspiration from for any of his characters was just his General Montgomery for his old British military guy. Tis a silly film. Bet he earned his money in this. I always wondered stuff like that. You play more than one character.
Yeah. Then again, though, I mean, it is an indie film, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know, what was the last thing Shelter Copley was in?
Well, he was in a couple of things, but the last thing that I remember seeing him in was Maleficent.
Right. I haven't seen that. He seems to be getting, like, solid work, but it seems to have slowed down a bit from District 9. Like, he was kind of at Flavour of the Month for a bit. A little bit.
I mean, he also does, like, voiceover stuff, I think.
Well, don't get me wrong, he's still getting lots of work, yeah. Oh, no, that's a jelly person.
The proto baby.
Put down the latex model. Don't know what you're talking about there. Well, how would he know that? So they got rid of the tracking device, but they're still, like, seeing what he's seeing. Oh. More Russian A-team.
Trusty, you're the one that keeps contacting him.
Shouldn't you know better? You gotta love these sort of, like, gesture acting from Henry. I do like the fact you never hear him talk. See, what I get is, like, he's the original scientist and he worked for ACAN, right? But it's like, so he knows to a degree who and what ACAN is. But then he doesn't know that that's not his wife.
Right. Oh, there you go. Plot hole. Boom.
I mean, I don't know. It depends what time, it depends when he got pulled out, I guess.
ACAN's program. True. Yeah.
I don't really say.
Yeah, that looks so dangerous.
I know. You just know it's some mad condemned old building.
Yeah.
It's probably like on the outskirts of Chernobyl. Yeah, just, oh god, it's the old sort of Soviet rotting buildings.
Yep.
In the middle of, like, God knows where. This is so, like, Call of Duty-esque, and it's like sniper mission.
Modern warfare.
Because I actually thought some of the blood. I think some of the blood in this is CG.
Yeah,
But they did actually use a fair few squibs apparently.
yeah.
Because apparently they were using like what was it 5 times bigger squib. You got the props guys to make him like 5 times bigger than normal squibs because he just wanted a ridiculous amount of blood. Something. Stunt copy doing like jumping about with a machete and a sawn off. I do kind of like how ridiculous it is. I don't know, I mean, because why not, eh? Oh, Jesus. They did it. I'm very British, but I prefer the Russian World War II submachine gun. You can have all the Western crap. I'll have the PKM. God, I've done too much research in my time to know. I know all about guns and stuff. Sound like a retard. But that must be weird. Controlling yourself, pushing yourself.
Yeah.
No harm comes to cripple. So I'm wondering, is this like... Because when this was filmed, it's 2015, I think. See, I said in the intro...
I think it might have come out in 2015, or they probably...
I think over here it might have come out in 2016, but I think it was filmed and first put on in certain theatres in 2015, maybe in Russia in 2015, I don't know.
Didn't they say it took them 3 years, though, to film this?
3 or 4, yeah.
Yeah, so that means what? They started in 2012, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, though, I mean, like, some of these scenes must have been insane to coordinate.
Yeah.
Because that's a bit CG. Yeah, no, I mean, just to coordinate everything so it flows like that, and all the effects and the squibs, and must have been a nightmare. It's the sort of thing you can imagine. You do this 2-minute long take of running and jumping about, and which involves loads of people, and
Right.
and then just something goes wrong. You have to set up and do the whole thing again. Let the cripple get Valerio. Oh, jeez.
That's the thing. Like, what if they messed up? Like, everything that they choreographed.
Yeah, they'd have to reset it. It happens. It's just, I mean, yeah, because I've been on a couple of film sets doing extra work on that, and you see some people, the way they do stuff like that, it's incredibly inefficient. Like there's the last one I was doing extra work for, it was basically a tracking shot of the interior of a club, and then the camera just focused on this little booth in this bar, and it was just a conversation between 4 people, and I think the whole scene was about no more than 3 minutes, if that, and that took Wilhelm scream. That took about 6 hours to shoot. Yeah, we're not talking action, we're talking some kind of, it was some biopic. And I just thought, jeez. There wasn't, I mean, okay, I only know I know more about film from the outside than the inside, you know? But I just thought, well, that was the one where I was playing a bartender, and I was saying to the guy who was setting up, I said, it's supposed to be set in the 60s. Should I really move all this digital till equipment here? You know, unless you're going for some kind of anachronistic vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh yeah, cheers for that, mate. Yeah, really earning my 70 quid a day or whatever it was.
I was in a music video years ago.
Yeah?
Yeah. I didn't get paid for that. I was like, what?
Really?
Like, yeah, I was like 14,
Was
15.
it someone you knew, or was it like some official kind of?
I don't remember the name of the guy, but he was, I knew that he played guitar or something like that. It was a weird sort of setup, but it was like a it was like a bunch of people that I knew, and like, yeah, I was in it. But
Were you there all day, or?
yeah, it was an all day thing. I mean, there was a mix of kids and adults.
Right.
I can't even remember the guy's name. Obviously, he wasn't anyone major, but he's been around for a while.
See, I haven't done any extra work for about, I don't know, God, a good 6 years or something like that. I mean, it was only like something I did on the side for a bit of extra money, you know?
I'm trying to think. If I find that video, you probably see me for like a split second.
Don't actually even see me in anything I've been in. See, I'm just thinking, yeah, most of the budget on this must have just been destroying stuff.
Oh, and you just made me remember something. Years ago, the New York Hall of Science, this was in the 90s, we had like a class trip happening, and I remember them filming us. And they were filming us because they were making a commercial to advertise the Hall of Science. And you could actually see me and a bunch of my friends, like, this had to be like, what, 94, 95?
So you would have been really little then.
Yeah, a little baby. I mean, not a little baby, but you know.
Little kid.
But yeah, it was great. You could just see us running around, looking at the telescope. It was pretty cool. I'm famous. Just saying.
I think over here you get paid like it's something along the lines of well, it depends, but your standard well, back then it might have gone up or down. I'm going back about 6-7 years, but I think you got paid about 90 quid a day
Mm-hmm.
for a non-speaking part. But then the rules were it was like if you worked less than like 6 hours, I think, then you'd only get paid half the rate. Well, if you worked 6+ hours up until 12
Right.
hours, then you get the 90 quid. So obviously, you're hoping you get, because actually, if it's very straightforward shoot and you're only there for 6 hours, it's
Yeah.
90 quid for 6 hours work ain't bad, But then not so great if you do it in 12.
Right.
But then the problem with that is you don't really get 90 quid because the agency takes about 15 quid of that for getting it for you. And you can't really, in most cases, it's pretty hard to apply to be an extra in certain stuff without being attached to an agency. So you almost never really get the full pay anyway.
Well, the interesting thing, like sometimes, like in the U.S. or like New York, like they'll put out a call, so you just show up, and they'll pay you like a day rate every day, which is actually better because then I think you get the full amount of money. Then again, I could be wrong, and somebody could correct me on that.
I mean, well, those do exist over here too. It's just that it's rarer, and it's usually like, well, last minute. And so if you really want to sort of get more regular extra work and sort of get a heads up on that kind of stuff, then you really kind of want to, be part of an agency. But no, it's just the problem is there's hardly anything. I don't drive, and there's hardly anything that came up near me, and then I got messed about a couple of times. So I was supposed to get one which is actually a speaking part, and that would have been like 150 quid. And then the agency kind of screwed me by not telling me that my part was cancelled because they cut it. So I turned up to Manchester.
Right.
And I had to email the assistant director because I'm thinking, oh God, I'm gonna get struck off the agency because I'll be seen as like a no-show, but I don't know where.
Right.
You never emailed me back to say where and when to turn up. I just knew it was in Manchester. I thought it was at the Granada Studios, and I emailed her and she said, "Oh no, sorry, your part got cut. Your agency should have told you. They knew about a week ago." So I said a few choice words, and after that I thought I can't be bothered. Oh no. Shelter Montgomery's dying. Must be kind of strange to just constantly act into a camera. Like that's just straight up just looking in the camera. You'd think so. Well, not really. Because you weren't really. Does like his blood. Yeah, nice sure, doesn't he? It's a lot of corn syrup. So that's probably so you get corn syrup everywhere in the US, can't you?
Yeah. Well, we literally put corn syrup in everything.
Because I want to make some fake blood, but I read that it's corn syrup's good consistency, so you put some food color in that.
I mean, what you could do when you come over, you can buy some and take some back with you.
Well, it's really hard to. Well, you can get it over here, but it's like import tax and stuff, so it just costs you a bunch of money for not much. See, that looks a bit ropey, I think.
Yeah.
That looks a bit like the grenade launch looks all CG. That fire looks dead dodgy.
Yeah, I didn't actually catch that.
Yeah.
To begin with.
That is like one of the first proper ropey shots, I think, in this. They work for Crest toothpaste. All the exposition. You rotating leg tosser.
Oh boy.
Why have they all got the same leg?
The same tattoo.
I don't quite get it. I don't really understand. Just in case you weren't sure, he's the bad guy. But yeah, so just kind of make you think, why doesn't he just kill him? Because if he's got all that telekinesis,
right?
Should he just be able to like throw something sharp through him from a distance?
Ugh.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that bit where again that was the guy who played Slick Dimitri, Andre, what's his name?
Yeah.
Did that the first time his head just bounced off the glass, didn't it? Because he just had him on like on the end of a sort of lever, didn't he? And he just slammed him into it.
Well,
under the end of a boom, wasn't he? And he's just.
I also think that they were testing it to see if they got it right, because first they did it without the glass.
Yeah, and that's actual glass as well.
Yeah. And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm just so thankful that it broke and I didn't."
I didn't get a jugular vein severed, or he got into a spine. And this is a bit where, especially, I think, see, he was pretty strong. You just rip it into a guy's chest like that, but yeah, it's it's hardcore battery.
Oi.
Just looks like he's made out of like, it looks like chicken.
See, like this part I didn't even remember.
Yeah. Yeah. You got juiced up Henry. Yeah, this whole bit with all the stuntmen here is just where people got punched and kicked a lot.
Yeah.
Again, could he not just throw him off the building at this point? He's on the roof, right?
Well, I guess he's testing him, right?
Oh, and also I think he's got that sadistic thing where he wants to see him suffer and get beaten, I think. Now, this is cool, but I think because you got so many people in such a confined space, I think this is a bit where, like, it does make you feel a bit motion sick. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because it is a bit like, really, just like all the whip pans and, like, a bit of a sort of strobe type effect. It's hard to follow, Max. I mean, I don't get motion sickness pretty easily. I mean, I don't, but even me, I'm like, geez.
I remember when I had surgery, and because they asked me if I ever had like anesthesia, I said no, but I get motion sick, so I need a scopolamine patch, and they were like, we don't really I'm like, no, I need it. I'm just letting you know because I'm gonna be sick. And I was so upset when I woke up because they didn't put it on. They gave me a bunch of nausea medication. It didn't even work. And even after they put the scopolamine patch on, by the end of the night, I just puked my guts up.
Oh, God. Stamps his spine through there. No, that sucks. But then, you get what you pay for, don't you? In your medicine. No, you don't. That's only a joke.
Well, no, I got a private room, and I didn't have to pay for that. But the reason for that was there was a woman that was starting a fight with me, some like crazy older woman who was out of surgery as well, and she was.
You should have gone hardcore on us.
Well, you should have seen me. I was fighting with her with my eyes closed. Like I was I basically pulled my legs up in bed, and my mother was like, "Stop it, stop!" No, and I was like, "Come on!" I was like, "Keep talking." And so then they eventually, like, they just wheeled me.
You're not my father, or God, or my boss. That's what you should have told her. That would have shut her up.
Oh no, she was saying some crazy crap. She's saying like awful things to me. I was just basically calling her an effing B.
How was nobody hurt there? Like, so apparently they. What are they made out of? Like Russian stuntmen? Seriously.
Right.
This is cool. I mean, again, this whole scene must have been a nightmare to organise.
Jesus.
All the AKs and grenades. It's kind of hard to commentate over this because you get the grenade, in the chest.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, look at that. They're mostly. See, how do you do that, right? How do you mostly replace? But then again, though, most of these guys had to have been grown. That's what I assume.
Or unless you just take former soldiers and just kidnap them and.
But how do you replace like a full spinal cord?
Well, don't know. Future tech, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Don't question
it. Yeah. There you go. Adrenaline. Super adrenaline. He's double adrenaline himself. And this bloody Queen song. I hate this song. I hate Don't Stop Me Now.
You need to say bloody in a Yorkshire accent.
Bloody Queen song.
Yeah. You almost sound embarrassed to say it.
Because I don't really have a proper Yorkshire accent. I've got a Yorkshire inflected accent. I've got weird generic northern accent.
Mm-mm.
But it's just, oh God, I hate this song. I'm not a big fan of Queen either, to be honest. It's massively overrated in my opinion. Middle-aged white man rock, to be honest. Like, hey, I like rock music. I like Queen. Do you, Dad? That's great. You're really hip. You gotta have a flaming man. There's one time. I love that. Just right in the fan. There's an attempted crap terrorist attack. I think it was at Glasgow Airport years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And some guy tried to like set himself on fire or something, or tried to explode his car, but he just set himself on fire and he walked out. And this one of the airport workers just went up this flaming man and knocked him out. Because, if you can rely on anyone to punch out a flaming man, it's a Scotsman. Closest thing we've got to Russians.
Did he do it in a kilt?
No, he was working at an airport. Believe it or not, it's not standard uniform.
It's amazing. He just he had tearaway pants, and under that was a kilt and.
Burning Man punching kilt. I wore it today, just in case. Okay, she's evil now. You can tell she's wearing black.
And I keep forgetting. I didn't remember this the last time, but every time he uses his powers, he kind of bleeds from his mouth.
Does he?
Akan. Yeah, it seems like he's bleeding
Hmm.
or like spitting up stuff. I don't know. Maybe his organs.
Well, because here's the thing: does he have some supernatural ability, or is it genetic, or has he got some weird cybernetic
Yeah.
experimental stuff?
The real question is that really a wig that he's wearing?
I think it is a wig. You've had a nice day destroying most of my company, and each one's first memory. Well, yeah, I think it wasn't a case of like they were just testing him, and like, and basically because Henry's been so successful, they're going to use him as the template kind of thing.
Yeah.
Must be a very costly way of testing your product, though.
Yeah.
Like, this one's only how many millions of dollars that would have been.
Well, it also makes you wonder. So there's like supercharged or, supernatural type people that are, that they have like terrorist organizations.
Yeah, first time you see Henry's face.
Yeah.
Or one of the stuntmen's face.
Yeah, which guy is it?
Don't know. Good old Tim Roth. So this kind of looks like... Do you reckon this is just shot in a separate camera? Because this is like crystal clear.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know what the max resolution of a GoPro at the time was.
You think it's way more, like, you think they have like 4K?
It wouldn't surprise me now.
Yeah.
I mean, not then, I don't think.
See, this is one of those films, too. Maybe if they waited a bit more.
I mean, but they're saying about the whole rolling shutter thing, so you don't know. I mean, it's...
Sure.
I don't know. What the hell do I know about cinematography? I know nothing about GoPros. Pretty sure that hurt you just as much as it hurt him. There we go. But I just love how after all this, he just kind of just messes him up. There's nothing kind of like cool about it. He's just brutal.
Oh yeah.
No finesse to it whatsoever. Like this. Oh. Great though. But I can't imagine how much that'd hurt. I love the way they do this in films. Like, I've just given you a horrifically grievous injury. That really hurt at the time that you did it, but now I'm over it. See, I'd imagine you'd be completely minced by this. If you had like some kind of gale force wind with tiny splinters of glass, it'd just be human stairs.
Human stairs.
The funny thing is, I'd imagine you could kind of overpower him anyway now that he's up close. But like, he doesn't really need to do this, but it looks awesome.
Right.
So I thought this was going to choke him out, and then when he did this, I thought, oh no, that's even better. That's awesome. Does his body just explode?
Yeah.
That's so cool, the transition into the split screen, and then just goes back in his head. Heads up. I see. He doesn't have the chance to say any cool one-liners. Oh man. See, this is a bit like, what's going on? He just holds his head up.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So you lied to me. I'm the weird super soldier with like you erased my brain.
Yeah.
Easy. Just deflects the bullet. To be honest, I wouldn't want to be shooting a gun in those confines. Imagine like the chances of picking up a ricochet would be pretty high. What happens, Henry? I just walked out of a helicopter. When I saw this the first time, I thought, he was gonna feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
So I thought I love the way that it just ends just like that as well. Just that's the last shot. He's like, nah, and just slams it closed. I'm surprised they didn't show it severing her fingers, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, there you go. Mental film made by a bunch of mental Russians. God bless them. So, what do you think to it all in all?
I thought it was great.
I do think like it works well as an experiment. You know, it works well. That's it. Danila Kozlovsky. That's the guy who played Akan. Was it? No, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah, Danila Kozlovsky. He played Akan. Yeah, no, I think it works really well as what it is. I just think I don't see how you could do a sequel unless you just go, it's the same but bigger, and this time and it'd just be a case of just bigger explosions, madder stunts.
Well, you'd probably have to maybe go into a little bit of what Akon's background is, maybe a little bit of his origin, because maybe there are more people like
you said
him.
Akon again.
Well, sorry, Akon.
Come on home.
Sorry.
Yeah, you could, but then I'm not a big fan of that. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see how he got, basically emo albino Destro over there built his sort of faux empire. I'm not really. I don't care.
Yeah.
No, I really like it. I just think it stands. I think. Alexander Mariv, I think he might have been the one who did a lot of the parkour. And that. But no, I think it works really well as an experiment. I think it could have been a lot worse than this. It could have been some really dumb. So that's what I was worried about, being some super dumb macho power fantasy where it's just like it's hardcore Henry because he's a really tough dude and he just goes and kills a lot of people. Well,
that's initially what I thought it was.
Well, that's
and
what
not,
it might be.
Not this like, this is weird sort of like sci-fi stuff going on. Like, I thought it was just going to be like, guy has amnesia. There's nothing special about him, and he just tries to get his memory back. Yeah, he's just basically behind the, it's Jason Statham's point of view. His first person point of view.
Oh God, have you seen? Did I show you the old videos when he was a dancer?
Yes, that was amazing.
When he's in Eurasia, bless him. Hey, look, I'm not going to make fun of him. The dude's like awesome at what he does.
He hustled.
Yeah, transport. Well, I was going to say the transport films were good. The first one was good. The second one was all right. The third one was awful. If I remember, I couldn't get into Crank at all. The two Crank films, I just thought they were stupid. Like, but not in a fun way. Just thought they were super dumb. I know Rich likes them quite a lot but as in like they're dumb, but they're a lot of fun sort of films.
Richie.
Whereas I just think they're really, I can't get on with them. I just think they're really stupid. I think it stands on its own really well. I don't think you could do another one without it just treading over the same ground.
Well, I guess the story would have to be something really good for them, I think, to consider something like that again.
I think you'd have to have somebody else's perspective or something.
Yeah.
You maybe have to have like a different character, because I do think that's kind of Henry's story.
Right, yeah.
And like, what would you do? Okay, well, he's killed him now. So he'd probably just try and find somewhere and lay low, wouldn't he?
Right. And also, does he need more of those little batteries to stay alive?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. But yeah, so apparently Jimmy might still be alive because we just got the little incoming message.
Why isn't he? Yeah, I was going to say if he controls what? No, I suppose he couldn't like transfer his consciousness completely to another one. That wouldn't work.
Right.
Well, I do like how it wastes no time, this film. It doesn't... Yeah, okay, you've got some exposition bits, but I think those are necessary because otherwise you wouldn't have a clue about why anything is the way it is. Mm-hmm. But I like the way it starts off the way it does, and it gets straight into it, and it's as long as it needs to be. It doesn't go on, it doesn't outstay its welcome. It's mad impressive stunts by a bunch of absolutely insane bastards.
I think it's one of those movies where I think it probably should have gotten higher ratings just for the just for the stuntmen alone doing all kinds of crazy
I think
stuff.
most people kind of liked it,
Yeah.
but I think it was seen as, oh, this is a bit fun, a bit different.
Right.
But then, apart from when it came out at the time, a lot of people didn't bother seeing it in the first place. And it's not like I ever hear anyone kind of bring it up since.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of, at least the people around me at the time, it felt like a bit of a flash in the pan. Like the people who saw it and liked it, they go, yeah, it was quite fun. But then didn't really leave a lasting impact on them. And yeah, I should have looked up on IMDb on how much it made. Cause, I know I know like it's one of Russia's highest grossing films, but I'm not sure. I think it did like moderately internationally. I think it definitely made a profit because I don't even know how much money it made.
Did it make back? Well,
Oh, it must have done.
yeah.
It must have done because I don't think it cost that much. But a few million, mind you, but not anything insane. Oh, jeez, that's all right. $2 million budget,
Wow.
and at the box office, 16.8 million.
It's pretty good.
So hey, at the end of the day, even if you double that for advertising, then you still made over 4 times as much.
Someone died apparently. Tatiana Rusakova. Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I think it was. See, it says 2016 here, so I think it must have been released in over the 2 years, depending on which country. Right. Well, that was Hardcore Henry, and a film that I particularly like, and actually I think is woefully underrated and a lot of fun. So I would recommend that to anyone who likes action-y films, which have like a new twist on a more old school style in terms of a genre. I like it a great deal. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend it. Any closing thoughts from yourself on the film?
No.
that's
No.
I love how we close out these commentaries.
I think
really snappy.
I think Charlotte Copley is I know I totally fudged your name. Sorry, buddy. Is a brilliant character actor, even if he is just playing himself really in everything that he does.
Yeah, well, he's allowed to. He's great. Okay,
Yeah.
well, all right. On that note, well, please, if you like it, click the like and share and
spread the word.
subscribe and click the bell icon and everything, and check out in the description for the Bandcamp of this week's featured artist and the Redbubble shop and blah 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 and everything else. It's all in the description and all that stuff. Yeah. So until next time,
Stay connected.
stay connected. Bye.
Support the cyber revolution and look great while doing it by checking out our Redbubble shop down in the description.